Welcome to my Triumph Speed Twin 1200, which I purchased on the 13th of May 2023. This is a replacement for my previous Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS. So I still have my Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro. That's my main bike, my sort of daily rider really. That's the bike that I would always choose to do any particular journeys of distance on, tours, that sort of thing. So the second bike, which this Speed Twin will be, is just for leisure use, ride outs, hour or two on the bike, that sort of thing, country lanes like the one I'm on today. It's absolutely ideal for those sorts of rides, more so than the Speed Triple was. When I decided I did want to make the change, it was a case of which Speed Twin do I want to go for. I test rode both the 900 and the 1200 Speed Twins. I test rode the 900 first and have to say I was very impressed. It only has 64 horsepower, but I was quite surprised about just how quick it felt with only 64 horsepower. It was a pleasant surprise in that regard. So yeah, it was a very nice bike, but after test riding the 1200, I did decide that certainly really it had to be the 1200. I mean, that has a lot more horsepower, 99 horsepower on the Speed Twin 1200, and it has some other nice features that go with it. It has the 6-speed box rather than the 5-speed box. It has the nicer dials, and it's just got sort of more equipment attached to it. It has all of the merits of the 900, but just with loads more performance added. So yeah, I decided that I would have to go for the 1200 version of the bike. So here it is in black. The colour options were either the black or the red or the matte orange. The black was the standard colour. It's the other two colours were both £200 options on it, but I thought it looked really nice in the black, so yeah, just thought I would keep it black. The only thing that's a different colour on any of the bikes anyway is the tank, so in reality you could get it sprayed any colour you like. It wouldn't cost a fortune to get that done. But no, I think it looks really, really good in black. Very nice looking bike. This one, it's completely standard. I never had any accessories fitted to it. I thought I'd own it for a while, ride it for a while, see if there's anything I wanted to do. I know on the Triumph website there's 54 different accessories you can fit, but they're mostly sort of bling things really. So, but some of them are really nice, so I probably will at some stage decide to add a few bits and pieces to it, but I don't think there's much wrong with it as standard, to be honest. I think it's yeah, it's a really nice looking bike. So, why did I decide to sell the Speed Triple 1200 RS? Wasn't an easy decision really. I'd owned it for approaching 2 years. It was a really nice bike. It was extremely high quality. The reliability of it was absolutely spot on. nothing went wrong with it. It was subjected to 2 or 3 recalls for different things, although the things it was recalled for, none of them had afflicted my bike, so as far as I knew, none of the problems actually needed correcting, and it never looked or felt any different when I got it back following the recalls. So reliability wise, absolutely spot on. My main problem, I suppose, with the Speed Triple was simply it was too firmly sprung for these kind of roads, and these are the kind of roads that I want to be able to ride my second bike on when I just go out on a Sunday morning or on a sunny evening or whenever. And really the suspension on the Speed Triple is far too firm for that, despite it's all adjustable, but even softening it right up, it's just far too firm. I would just avoid roads, these minor roads on the Speed Triple. Speed Triple was definitely in its element on fast, smooth, flowing kind of roads, which there's very few of really around my area, and the ones that there are tend to be packed with traffic, so you can never really utilise what that bike is capable of delivering. It's also a 180 horsepower motorcycle, so it's insanely fast. On the road you can't even begin to explore the upper end of the rev range, it's just ballistic. So this Speed Twin is much more suitable for these kind of roads. With its 99 horsepower, it's completely adequate for the road. That's one thing that the Tiger 900 taught me, really, because that has 94 horsepower, and when I first got that I was worried I might be a bit underwhelmed, but in reality I found that on the road that kind of 95-100 horsepower, it's pretty much ideal for road use. It still makes it a genuinely quick bike. Certainly doing overtaking slower moving traffic is absolutely no problem at all. In fact, I found it just as easy to pass stuff as I did on the considerably more powerful Speed Triple. So yeah, decided that that the 100 horsepower ish that the Speed Twin has would be ideal. But it was the suspension that was the main reason for wanting to make the change. It was just too firm. I mean, I did consider getting it completely resprung, revalved, etc., but that would have involved quite a lot of money being thrown at it, and that would have changed the nature of the bike, which I didn't think was a sensible thing to do. It's just a case of my priorities had changed, I think. So I was much more inclined to get something that was just better suited to the job that I wanted it to do. So first impressions of the Speed Twin 1200. Well, I'm obviously running it in at the moment, so just doing the overtake, but you can't, for the first 300 miles you've got to stay below 4,000 RPM, so I'm in that stage at the moment. But even so, because it's a twin, obviously it only revs to 7 in total, so the actual running in restrictions on it are not as bad as they were on the Speed Triple, which was really quite restrictive. But so you still, even using 4,000 RPM, you still have sort of a decent turn of speed on it, but obviously looking forward to being able to explore the remaining sort of 3,000 RPM, I think, because you can feel it's just sort of starting to come alive at about 4,000 RPM. So I'm not sure where the maximum torque is developed in the rev range, but it's certainly just really starting to pick up its speed at about that point. So, but even so, it's perfectly rideable right from 0 miles, unlike the Speed Triple, which you had to be really sort of restrictive using that for the first few hundred miles. Suspension wise, the Speed Twin it's considerably better. It's totally non-adjustable apart from preload on the rear. You can do that, but in terms of compression, rebound, that sort of thing, there's no adjustment you can make on the Speed Twin. So obviously I've not been pushing the bike yet, so I haven't found any sort of particular limitations with the suspension that it comes with as standard. The ride quality is very good. It's not quite Tiger good, but it's nonetheless, it handles all these little minor roads extremely nicely. So I don't have the same issues on this that I had on the previous Speed Triple. I've also really liked the looks of the sort of the modern classics that Triumph do. As I mentioned earlier, I did test ride both the 900 and the 1200 version of the Speed Twin. I also rode a Bonneville T120 just to see what that was like, and yeah, again, it's very nice. But I did prefer the sort of slightly more sporty nature of the Speed Twin over the T120. And I also preferred the looks of the Speed Twin over the T120 as well, although I completely recognise that looks are completely subjective. The T120 seems to be, it's much more of a replica of a 60-70 Bonneville. The Speed Twin is more of a modern bike in a retro style, which I personally just prefer, so decided that the Speed Twin just sort of felt nicer. It's also more powerful. It does go quicker. During the running in process, so far I'm averaging 59 miles per gallon, UK gallons, out of the Speed Twin. So that's a little bit better than I've been getting out of the Tiger, which gives, well, it's pretty close really, gives me that's been averaging about 57 mpg. The Speed Triple 1200, that one used to average about 47 mpg. So, but even so, I thought, given the performance of that bike, that was in itself quite impressive. The Speed Twin has a 14.5 litre tank, so if I continue to average about 59 miles per gallon, that would actually give it a range of almost 190 miles, which is pretty good. It's not the sort of bike I'd ever want to particularly go touring on anyway, but certainly you can do a 2-3 hour ride on it no problem without having to keep stopping to fill it up with fuel. I mean, I doubt I will continue to get as good as 59 mpg, because obviously once it's been run in and you're not restricting the revs, it's going to be pushing on a little bit more than that, so I'm expecting it to drop somewhat, but I would still hope to get about 55 mpg out of the bike. And I must say, the twin engine, the parallel twin, it does make a extremely nice noise, so yeah, overall I've been very pleased with it so far, so hopefully it will maintain the record of the Speed Triple and the Tiger in being super reliable as well, but we shall see.